Hello everyone, it's Kaylin from Forest Gold here, back again for another sequel to the stories that I've been telling for each season. And we're now in the season of fall or autumn, and as you can see, the leaves are changing. Colors behind me, what a beautiful, beautiful setting. And the story I have today for you is about the season of fall in Honey Haven, this place in previous stories where it was in the middle of a city, had become a haven for wildlife. We started with the fox and the dandelion in spring, and then into the summer we had the story with the bees, and then now we have a story with the mushroom and rabbit. So if you can recall the rabbit who had discovered the honeysuckle, well, that rabbit had a burrow down on one of the corners of Honey Haven, and it was a very crisp fall or autumn day, and the rabbit woke up that morning, had a bit of a rumbling in its stomach, and climbed out of the burrow to see what it might be able to eat that day, to fill itself up and get ready for the oncoming winter. And as it bleary-eyed came out of its burrow and looked around, it noticed something it had never seen before. It had somehow appeared just overnight. It wasn't something that this rabbit had ever been able to recognize or see previously, and so walked up to it, and it had this creamy stalk-like structure and then a cap, very large cap over the top, that was a beautiful yellow, almost golden yellow with spots on the top of it. And the rabbit sniffed around it. It had a bit of an earthy scent to it. Didn't recognize what it might be, wasn't sure if it could eat it. So it just looked at this new thing that had appeared and said, "Who are you?" But it didn't reply. And so the rabbit just decided, okay, well, I'm gonna go off and have my day and go find something to eat. So the rabbit hopped through Honey Haven all the way to the top of the hill where the favorite grass to eat was, and it was right beneath that beautiful old oak tree. And the rabbit started to nibble on the grass. Nibble, 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 filling its belly, the yummy, yummy, yummy grass. And then there was a voice from up in the branches of the oak tree. Woo! Woo! And the rabbit's ears perked up and it looked up into the tree, and there was Owl perched on one of the branches, wise old Owl. And she said, "I know who they are." And the rabbit was very confused at first and looked up at the owl. What? What do you mean? And the owl said, "I know who they are. That thing that you found outside of your burrow. I know who they are. They are the messengers. They are the messengers, and if you speak to them, you will understand." And the rabbit looked up at the owl, thought, okay, I mean, this is the wise old owl, but how did the owl know that the rabbit had found this thing outside of its burrow? And how did it know that it had asked, "Who are you?" It was all a bit of a mystery. And the rabbit said, "Okay, I hear you, owl. Thank you." And then the owl just closed its eyes and continued to perch on the branch of the oak tree. So when the rabbit was finished eating, it hopped back down to the corner of Honey Haven where its burrow was, and there was this thing, this yellow, almost golden cap on its creamy white stalk, and it went up to it and said, "Hello, I've been told that if I speak to you, that you're some kind of messenger." And the rabbit waited, and nothing. There was no response. And the rabbit said, you don't have to be shy. I'm really friendly. I'm just wondering who you are. And the owl up there told me that if I spoke to you, then I would understand. And still, nothing. So the rabbit was really confused and, okay, went back down into its burrow just as it was evening time, getting ready for another night. And it cozied up inside of its burrow, nice and warm, and fell asleep. And as the rabbit was sleeping, a wind started to blow. And it started to get stronger and stronger. So strong, in fact, that one of the trees near the rabbit's burrow toppled over from the wind. Crash! And it woke the rabbit up in its burrow because it heard the noise and it felt the vibration of something landing very heavily on top of the earth. And the rabbit, scared, looked around in the burrow and thought, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? And then tried to poke its head out to see what was happening up above. But the top of the burrow, where it usually comes in and out, it was covered with branches. And the rabbit tried to see if it could find a way through the branches, but there was no way. It was just completely blocked by this tree that had fallen. And so the rabbit went back down into its burrow and thought, oh, I'm stuck in here. I'm gonna need to find a way to get out. I mean, I could start digging and try to find another way, but I don't know exactly how big this tree is, and I might spend all my time and energy going one direction, and then I'll end up just being blocked by the trunk of the tree. Okay, I've really got to come up with a plan. I'm going to be stuck down here for a long, long time, and I'm still hungry. I still need to eat. And so as the rabbit sat in its burrow trying to think of what it could do, it started to notice something it hadn't noticed before, just in the walls of the burrow. Of course, it was soil covered in dirt, but in and amongst that soil, there were these thread-like, very faint, small roots. So the rabbit took a closer look, looking at them, said, I mean, they look like roots, but I have seen roots of plants before, and these are different, and they're so delicate and fine, I almost can't even see them. And then as the rabbit looked around and noticed the part of the burrow where these roots were the most dense, it realized that was just below where that thing was. If it could get out of its burrow and poke its head up, it would see that thing that it didn't recognize, that it had tried to talk to, was just above where the mat of dense thread-like roots were in its burrow. So the rabbit realized it must be connected. And so it got closer and closer and closer just to look to see what these things could be and how this might be able to help the rabbit. And then, as it got very, very quiet, the rabbit started to hear whispering. Like small, quiet voices whispering. Now the rabbit couldn't understand what it was saying, but the rabbit understood that it was speaking, that there were messages that were being sent through these roots. And so all of a sudden, what the owl had said started to make sense. Because the rabbit had said to this thing outside of its burrow, "Who are you?" As a messenger, it had sent all those messages through the roots and had somehow got it all the way to the oak tree where the owl was. And that's how the owl knew. So the rabbit thought, I could maybe use this to send messages for help, to see if someone might be able to come and help me get out of this burrow. And so the rabbit asked and said, "Hello, I don't know your name or who you are, but I'm wondering if you could help me. as the messenger, can you please send a message of help to somebody to say, I'm trapped in my burrow, a tree has fallen over my entrance, can anybody help me to get out? And just when the rabbit finished saying that, saw sort of a faint glow of gold within the roots, and it twinkled and shimmered and started to move up and away. The rabbit thought that must mean something. I suppose I'll just have to wait. So the rabbit patiently just waited in the burrow, listening out for any sort of noise. But it was still very quiet because it was the very early hours of the morning, and many of the animals, everyone was still asleep. So the rabbit waited and waited some more, and then started to think, maybe nobody's coming. Maybe I don't understand. Maybe they aren't the messengers like that. I got it wrong. And just as the rabbit was about to give up hope, started to hear scratching. And it started to get louder and louder. And then the rabbit started to feel a bit of a vibration. And then, out of one side of the burrow, saw paws break through the earth. These orangey paws and claws, like that. And all of a sudden, this big hole opened up, and a snout popped in, started to sniff, and then rabbit could see the eyes, and then pointy ears. And it was the fox. And the fox said, hello, hello, rabbit, are you there? And the rabbit said, yes, I'm here. The fox said, I heard that you were trapped in your burrow, and so I came to dig you out. And so Fox backed out of this hole that she had made, and the rabbit was able to crawl out back to the surface and look at everything that was above, and saw this very large tree, a pine tree, that had fallen and blocked the entrance of the burrow. But the rabbit was free. The fox had helped, and Owl was waiting at the top as well, perched on one of the fallen branches of the pine tree. And the rabbit said, was it the messenger? Was it the messenger that told you? And they both said, yeah, we heard it through the oak tree. We were up at the oak and we got the messages through that. It was sent by your friend that's just outside of the entrance of your burrow. And so Rabbit realized that she had understood what Owl had said and how these things were the messengers for them. But then realized, where is it? Did it get harmed by the oak tree or the fallen pine tree? Did it fall on top of it and destroy it? And so the rabbit started to look around and stand up on her back legs. Then she said, friend, hello, I shall call you Mushroom. Mushroom, are you okay? Thank you for being the messenger if you're out there. And from in between some of the fallen branches, just a little distance away, the rabbit saw a golden glow. Just a bit of a pulse, and then it went down. She knew that her friend was still alive, still in there somewhere, and deeply connected to the earth through these thread-like roots that extended all throughout Honey Haven. So that is the story of Rabbit and Mushroom, which represents the autumn clothing collection. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel welcome to share this story or the other two that came before it as a sequence of stories if you would like to. Thanks for listening. Take care. See you soon.